Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisance to all of you. Welcome to Wisdom, the nectar from senior devotees who are sweet experience with Srila Prabhupada. Today we have special guest, His Grace Gokulananda Prabhu from Montreal.
Thank you.
Gokulananda Prabhu is direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada,
My
His
good
Divine
fortune.
Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. He dedicated his life to serve Srila Prabhupada Hare Krishna movement long time and different temple. In Canada, he doing in Vancouver and Montreal. He also the director of administration in ISKCON Montreal, Canada. And he had lot of dedication for temple, his preaching and helping new devotee to spiritually advancement. And he's very, very kind. So all devotees like him so much in Montreal,
Well,
other part of the Canada mainly.
it's my
And
good
he a lot
fortune.
of experience is Srila Prabhupada. So we want to know more about experience, how you meet with Srila Prabhupada and initiation, everything. And he chose the topic is the power of empowerment, the empowerment power. So how it is legacy of Srila Prabhupada doing in ISKCON. So I humbly thanks, and it is my gratitude and honor to His Grace Gokulananda Prabhu to be here.
Thank you, Sachibran Prabhu.
Thank
You're
you
very
so much
kind.
for your presence here.
You're
We
very
are
kind
very,
to give
very
me this.
appreciate that, and new generation will be benefited from your nectarian speech. So today, uh, we'll pass to him. And before I give him, I just honor him again. So please accept my humble obeisance to you. And you start there. It is wisdom actually mainly is beginning with experiences Srila Prabhupada and talk about your experience. Then later on, last 20 minutes, we're going for question and answer. So I recommended everyone, if you have any question, you can comments in Kirtan Mela Calgary Facebook. Then we can get and try to give an answer.
Thank you very much, Sachibran
Okay, go ahead.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You're very kind to help me. Of course, my life would have been a big zero, except somehow or other, by the infinite mercy of our sweet Lord Sri Krishna, I was able to meet the devotees of Srila Prabhupada and eventually take shelter and join in the Sankirtan army, in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya, which has made my life wonderful and special, not by my own merit. As I said, my life was zero, but when I met Prabhupada, everything that I was gifted to offer, then it became something good, and my life became very nice and significant because of that connection. So somehow or other, when I was young, I was born in Ottawa, and I had a very nice family, my parents, and my mother was very devout Catholic, and she would bring me to church every Sunday. And by the time I became teenager at 14, I went to the college to become priest for my 4 years of high school. But after that, I went to university, and my ideas changed. And after studying literature and philosophy, when I was young, there's an echo, eh? Anyway, okay. I finally looked towards the East, towards the ideas or philosophy of the East. I was always attracted to India. First, the music, George Harrison and sitar and Ravi Shankar, and then some knowledge about the history and philosophy of India. And after looking through so many Mayavad, nothing attractive, nothing satisfying, I finally heard about Ramanuja and the Sri Vaishnava tradition. I read a biography of Ramanuja. It was beautiful, full of miraculous, you know, reciprocation between Lord Vishnu and Ramanuja. It was amazing. And then 2 or 3 years later, I finally met the devotees. After so many ups and downs in my life, I finally met the devotees in Vancouver, the summer of '71, and I joined them. And what really clinched it for me, what really convinced me that they had something so rare and so beautiful is how much dedication they had to Srila Prabhupada and to his every word. They were ready to do anything and everything to follow Prabhupada's every word. They were ready to go to the end of the earth, if necessary, to please Srila Prabhupada. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. The intensity of that commitment and devotion to their great saintly teacher. I had a first glimpse of Prabhupada's immense, pure love and compassion by meeting his followers in Vancouver. And after about 6 weeks, I joined, and then I was able to experience even more of Prabhupada's reciprocation. So the Prabhupada came to this world sent by God himself, Lord Chaitanya, and he came with the full potency of only possible from a lover of God. He had taken to heart everything he had heard from his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and he was given a very, what we say, a tall order, very difficult instruction to bring the purest Gauravani, the purest theistic revelation about Krishna and the process of devotion or bhakti. He was asked to bring that to the West, and the West was not a very suitable place for such an elevated or pure message, because the West was all full of passion and ignorance, and even the conception of God. God was the order supplier. You prayed to God, give us this day our daily bread. God was not the supreme friend and benefactor of his children, but God was a very vindictive God. If you don't follow his commands, he can punish you and send you to hell, which is that total concoction. There is karma. God's laws are there in the universe. It has to be like that so that we can gradually elevate ourselves back or become qualified to go back to the spiritual world where we come from. So karma is there, and there's even some hellish punishments, but that is only a temporary lesson that the soul has to learn in order to continue their progress. But in that distorted misunderstanding about God, he sends you for eternal punishment. I couldn't agree with that. So anyway, when I met the devotees, they had all the answers, which was not of their own making. They were simply repeating what they were hearing from Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada himself was a very empowered communicator. He could give it, or he gave the highest knowledge coming down from Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and their empowered followers, but in the most available, accessible format, so that we, not so qualified, can understand and take to heart and want to live according to practice this great science of bhakti. And I was really impressed because I had been a student of philosophy, and there was so much logic and substance in everything Prabhupada was teaching that I immediately dove into reading every day as much as I could hear and understand from these incredible truths, And so I quickly became very convinced, and I wanted to join in the mood of the other devotees and go out on Harinam, distribute the holy name, Back to Godhead magazines, and really, really take on that mood of compassion, which is the mood of the followers of Lord Chaitanya, para upakar, to give people what they really need, not some temporary material benefit, some help to their body or to soothe their distressed minds. No, the ultimate good one can do to a person and let them know who they really are, that they are actually eternal souls, beautiful eternal beings coming from God, the Supreme Person, Krishna, and possessing a minute quantity of the same qualities as God. You know? And God is the most kind and loving being. In fact, the very name God comes from the German word gut, which means the one who does good to everyone. Of course, we appreciate or prefer the name Krishna because that's a more intimate name of God. It means the perfect person, the all attractive, supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. He who possesses unlimited personal qualities, unlimited love, unlimited beauty, unlimited knowledge, unlimited strength, etc., etc. So that is a very attractive and captivating truth or appreciation of the Supreme, because we're all looking for heroes and people who can really impress us and inspire us. And God is the original hero. He's the one who has everything in full. And so when we hear these truths from the lips of the pure devotees, it's not just beautiful information and ideas, but that's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. It's all about how Krishna reciprocates with his devotees by empowering them, by giving them his own power of loving and nourishing and elevating the souls back to him. So the devotees of the Lord become his instruments for doing his work of reclaiming all of us that we have foolishly turned our backs on God, and therefore we're the source of our own troubles. But God, it does not leave us to our own folly. He wants to bring us back into our eternal relationship with him. Therefore, he comes in person in a very rare descent, once in a kalpa, once in a day Brahma. But he constantly uses his devotees as his instruments to bring us back to him, to elevate and purify our consciousness so that we can regain our dormant love and desire to serve and love him. So Prabhupada had so much of that Krishna Shakti. Of course, that the famous verse in the Bhagavatam, Krishna Shakti Vinana Hi Tra Pravartana, that the Lord, he one who wants to inject bhakti or Krishna consciousness, he must receive the special mercy of the Lord's own potency to awaken that. And it's the analogy is nicely given by Prabhupada in so many places. Krishna Surya Sama, that Krishna is like the sun, just like the sun is such a miraculous energy. All life forms on this planet and probably throughout the universe are made to blossom or grow and attain their full potential by the great energy of the sun, the sunshine. Like we know here in this Earth planet, all vegetation, they grow by what's called photosynthesis, that the sunlight allows their cells to multiply and, like that. So similarly, Krishna's energy is the only possible energy to bring the soul out of its ignorance and illusion and attachment to matter and reinstate the soul in its pure energy and its pure consciousness, full of love for Krishna and dedication to pleasing and loving him and serving him. So that potency, Krishna Surya Sama, that is delivered by the pure devotees. They are the channel or the instruments to Krishna, for Krishna to reach out and elevate the souls, purify them. So when we experience that for ourselves, which is guaranteed, if you have just enough sincerity and you become attracted to chant the Lord's holy name, you can quickly experience how the holy name is making us better, making us happier, making us more aware, making us feel a purpose and a higher connection. So the holy name is full of Krishna's potencies and love and compassion and purifying potency. Therefore, the pure devotee, he is the one who delivers the pure name. You know? Because Krishna cannot be experienced through lower energy. Only Krishna's own energy can deliver his own potency. So Krishna's own energy, which is his loving potency, it's actually called Ladini, and the embodiment of that is Radharani, of course. So actually, it's also described by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. There's always often been a question amongst the worshippers of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna that, well, our highest beneficiary or that personality who wants to do the greatest good to us is actually Srimati Radharani, because she wants to help us awaken our devotion and love for Krishna and bring us closer to Krishna. And that's her entire being. That's what she wants. In fact, that force of love in Radharani's heart is called Audarya, the intense desire to bring everyone back to Krishna. And that is the heart of Lord Chaitanya, Audarya. And that's what actually made Lord Chaitanya came into this earth and to start the Sankirtan movement. So Radharani is actually the origin of the Sankirtan movement, because she wants to bring everyone back to Krishna, and her heart is so intensely saturated with that beautiful love for Krishna. Even Lord Krishna didn't know the depth or intensity of that love, though he knows everything, Sarvagna, but that is so beautiful and rare that he wanted to experience that love. Therefore, Krishna's heart joined with Radharani's heart and manifested as Lord Chaitanya, the combined form of Radha and Krishna. And in that union, there's that force of Audarya, where Radharani wants to bring every possible other person into that love, or having an experience of that love. And so that's the Sankirtan movement, which is the spreading of the chanting of the holy name. And the holy name is actually the sound incarnation of the divine couple. Hare Krishna. Hare is Radharani, Krishna, the all-attractive Supreme Lord. And in that combination, Hare Krishna, there's the exchange of love between Radha and Krishna. So we are actually very fortunate to be blessed with a taste of that divine love in a sound incarnation, or very accessible. You just hear the sound Hare Krishna, and you want to experience more of that, because it awakens our real self, our real love and pleasure that we share with Krishna. Now, that's where I think of how Prabhupada had that he had so much love for Guru and Krishna, and with that love comes compassion, wanting to have everyone regain that love, because we're lost in this world. We're looking for love everywhere else in all the wrong places. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya, through his great servants and devotees like Srila Prabhupada, they want to show us where the real love is. Our real love, our capacity for love comes from God. That is his greatest gift. We're able to love, even in this world. We're looking for love in so many ways. That's the only thing we're really looking for, because that's the best happiness, is in sharing, not in taking and keeping, but in giving, sharing. Then we can see our happiness increase. That, even materially speaking, that is going on. Once in New Vrindavan, there was a beautiful festival in Janmashtami, Vyas Puj Day, in August 1972. I had the good fortune of joining about 30 devotees from Canada. We went down to New Vrindavan. There was a total of 700 devotees. They came from every part of the USA, and a few even came from Europe. It was the greatest gathering of Prabhupada's followers that had ever happened. Even during their previous Rath Yatras, there was a nice group, but nothing like 700 devotees from the whole of ISKCON, was represented there. And there were many wonderful, extraordinary experiences we all shared, seeing Prabhupada chant in such ecstasy that we all got overwhelmed or drowned in the ecstasy that Prabhupada was manifesting during his potent kirtans when he was on the stage there that they had set up with the deities. It was amazing. Another beautiful experience that was shared later by Hridayananda Maharaj was that he was in a small group of devotees next to Prabhupada. They were on a lawn somewhere, and they were having a light conversation. And while they were talking, two little kittens, like tiny, tiny little cats, little kittens, were playing this. That's what kittens like to do. They roll, and jump on each other and roll around and that. And at one point, they rolled onto Prabhupada's lap, and Prabhupada did not slap them away or anything. Prabhupada flattered them and sort of looked at them and enjoyed their playing, And then Prabhupada finally turned to his devotees. Some of them were puzzled. Why is Prabhupada enjoying that? We usually don't like to have animals around us. They're moochy like that. But Prabhupada was looking, and of course, in every instance, Prabhupada was wanting to always instruct and give a good, relevant lesson. So Prabhupada says, just see, even with these kittens, there's love. Love is there at all, everywhere, because the soul is forever looking for love, and we will help them find where the real love is. Only with Krishna is there the real love, because our love belongs to Krishna. He gave us love. He gave us the capacity to love. We should give it back to him in full. The more we give back to Krishna, the more we open our hearts and offer our whole manmana mavabhakta majajimam namaskuru, like a beautiful verse in the Gita. Krishna is asking us, please always think of me, become my devotee, offer your service and your activities to me, your thoughts, your words, and your actions to me. And because by that offering, Krishna is eager to reciprocate. There's a beautiful name of Krishna, which I learned a few months back. Bhavagrahi. Bhavagrahi means Krishna is mostly interested in the bhava, in the loving sentiments of his devotees. He gets the utmost satisfaction in exchanging loving dealings with his devotees. He's not so eager to show his universal form and how he has so many potencies and shakti. That doesn't give him any real pleasure. He has to do that for his own good. But it's love that attracts him and that makes him happy. Just like us, we're a tiny, tiny sample of God. Whatever we have is coming from God, but we have it in very small quantity. And in the material existence, we have it in a covered, imperfect manner. But in the spiritual realm, the soul has all the qualities of Krishna in minute quantity, but still very, very, very glorious and beautiful. So Krishna has that taste for love, that attraction to love. That's also what we're looking for. So if we give our love back to Krishna, then we'll be able to join in his capacity for love, which has no limit. That's the beauty of bhakti. There's no end to the reciprocation that the soul can experience with Krishna. And we see that in the lives of his pure devotees, like Prabhupada. His level or the degree, the intensity of his reciprocation with Krishna was so amazing that it has changed the history of the world. His love for Krishna is what made him come on the Jaladuta all the way to New York and deal with these mixed up, half crazy young people that were simply searching all in the wrong places for ecstasy and love and all. So Prabhupada showed them where the real love is, where the real pleasure or ecstasy is, not in LSD, not in sex, not in this and that drug, but in our innate, internal nature of an eternal soul in connection with Krishna. And Prabhupada was able to convince, but also give a direct experience of that connection through the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Prasadam, Krishna Kata, his Shakti, when Prabhupada speaks, it is saturated with Krishna Shakti. That's the divine potency to awaken our own connection with Krishna, our own attraction, and ultimately our love for Krishna. So that's the beauty of Prabhupada having given us that process of bhakti. It empowers us to do the right thing, open our hearts to Krishna, and put Krishna on our minds, like, really fill our thoughts and our whole being with everything connecting to Krishna, which includes all of his pure devotees, just like the Bhagavatam. Majority of the Bhagavatam are the stories of Krishna's great devotees. Prahlad Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, this one, that one. So many greats are here, Krishna's incarnations. So many manifestations of Krishna's potencies and Krishna's loving reciprocation with his pure devotees. That's what the Bhagavatam is, up until the 10th canto, where Krishna's personal activities, his Leela, are revealed with his transcendental entourage in Braj Leela, in the spiritual realm, Goloka Vrindavan. So Krishna is eager to give us that attraction, that awakening of our love, and he does so through his pure devotees. He empowers his pure devotees with his own Shakti, and Krishna, seated in the heart of his pure devotees, he manifests himself on the lips of his pure devotees, who vibrate transcendental sound vibrations of Hare Krishna mantra, of every Krishna bhajan, anything to offer your love to Krishna, and all the glories of Krishna, the topics about Krishna, Krishna Kata. So that is fully Shabda Brahman. It's the spirit, the Krishna Brahman, the Supreme Brahman, manifested in this world as sound, not of this world, come directly from the spiritual realm, and full of Krishna's potency to awaken our spiritual consciousness, our original pure energy, so that we can again appreciate Krishna and again nourish our attraction to Krishna and ultimately our love for him. That's all there within the sound vibration coming through his pure devotees. That's why hearing Prabhupada's kirtans and Prabhupada's classes is the most potent and the most glorious way of connecting to Krishna. Of course, Prabhupada published so many books, and there's hundreds of millions, like 600-700 million books, small, medium, or large, that have been distributed over the last 50 years. That is, Prabhupada said, that is kirtan in printed form, book kirtan, identical with the sound kirtan. That's really beautiful. If you read something about Krishna coming from his pure devotees, that is spiritual Shakti, it's spiritual nourishment. It'll give you some attraction for Krishna. It'll nourish your dormant love for Krishna. And that's what's happening throughout ISKCON. So I'll just go through a few other points I wanted to share. See, Prabhupada's great miraculous mission of ISKCON actually started with the principle of sincerity. The soul's eagerness to, know and love God. Prabhupada always said that our only qualification was our sincerity, that we were sincerely looking for a better purpose in life, a higher purpose in life, the ultimate purpose of life. Just like it says, the Tato Brahma Jignasa, that now that the soul has attained the human form of life, its purpose now is to inquire as to the source, the absolute truth. Janmadiya Saryataha, it's like in Vedanta Sutra and first verse of the Bhagavatam, that now that you have taken human birth, now you go about your real business, inquire about the absolute, and he is there to reciprocate. He comes as Shastra, he comes as the pure devotees, and he comes as the association of elevated souls, sadhus. So Prabhupada he recognized some sincerity in his followers, and he kept fanning the flame. He kept nourishing that tender creeper of devotion, that bhaktilata, and he made it grow and grow and grow by his loving care, by his nurturing, by his giving the right truth and the right way of life, so that that dormant, you know, bhaktilata, that dormant creeper of devotion, has a right environment to grow and grow, gain strength, and go all the way to Krishna. So the sincerity is the qualification, but it's also a means to attract more of Krishna's mercy. Krishna reciprocates with sincerity by giving us some inclination, some strong desire to actually inquire: is there a God? Is there an ultimate source? Is there a truth that is forever? You know, do I have a connection with the source? I don't come from nowhere. I have to come from somewhere. That's like Prabhupada would give a simple analogy. You want to know God? You have a father. He has a father. There's another father. Another. It goes all the way back. It all goes back to God. He's the original father. But you cannot know the details of that father until you hear the divine transmissions. Of course, Krishna speaks to his pure devotees, or reveals from within his heart, within the heart of the pure devotee. Tesham satata yuktanam vachatampi dami buddhi yogam tam. He gives that buddhi, that spiritual understanding, from within the heart, but as a reward for your surrender and intense desire to know and understand and glorify him, like that. So that's coming from Krishna, and that Prabhupada was the full embodiment, or a constant transmitter of that buddhi, or perfect revelation, and it became his books and everything else he did. And 1,500 classes he gave. His buddhi, his connection, his understanding of Krishna is fully shared with the whole world. Every time someone would say, well, it happened a couple of times, sir, you have many good followers, but what will happen when you die? And Prabhupada would instantly say, I will never die. I will live forever in my books, because that's a fact. The pure devotees, they're like Krishna, eternal, and the space or time or death cannot separate, cannot stop. Just like Krishna's words, Bhagavad Gita, he was kept intact in the hearts of his pure devotees for 50 centuries. And in the modern era, Srila Prabhupada and other great souls like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Well, of course, there was the great Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas, descending from Lord Chaitanya, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidabhushan, who gave enlightened commentaries. Prabhupada dedicated his Bhagavad Gita to Baladev Vidabhushan, because Prabhupada derived a lot of inspiration from his very incredible realizations and truths that he was able to derive, extract from the Bhagavad Gita. And what to speak about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the greatest scholar of his times, and he knew something about everything. Prabhupada said he was like a living encyclopedia. But his Shakti, his devotional realization was so powerful that he was able to, inject it in his own disciples. And of course, the best of his disciples was Srila Prabhupada, who carried the full potency of the parampara with him. Okay? And so Prabhupada gave us his mission, ISKCON, a wonderful spiritual mission, spiritual community of like-minded kindred souls. That is all the good souls who have taken shelter of Prabhupada, who have given their heart and their whole life to Prabhupada, and thus who have received Prabhupada's mercy in the form of his enthusiasm, his desire to give Krishna to the whole world. So Prabhupada's followers are some of his greatest gifts. Of course, Prabhupada gave us, the greatest knowledge, coming directly from God, Gauravani, and all of his books and all that. But without the association the followers of Lord Chaitanya, his knowledge or that transcendental revelation would not be fully understood, and we would not be able to apply those teachings in the right environment, in the right social context. So we need each other. We need the Sangha of the followers of Prabhupada in order to know how to practice the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and awaken or follow the science of bhakti. Everything is perfect. We don't have to add or subtract. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It already works. Everything in the science of bhakti is perfectly revealed by God through a perfect transmission of perfect souls. And therefore, we will not be able to uh, share with God unless we will not be able to realize that the full potency of that unless here I have the smart a moment's pause, please. Ça vient de l'île Maurice. C'est un cadeau pour toi. Ah, c'est bon, merci. Merci pour toi. Merci beaucoup. Okay. Je suis sur un podcast. Merci. Okay, c'est bon. Okay, I'm sorry. Our nice cook there from Mauritius, Srikanta. So we will not be able to realize the teachings of the greatest teachings in the history of the world, Gauravani. It will remain a mystery, not able to really fully understand it unless we see by living example how those teachings have empowered a great saint like Prabhupada and so many others. Prabhupada created a whole legacy of pure souls, of great saints, men and women of such pure character and compassion, and it was just wonderful, very wonderful, genuine souls who have given their life and soul to spread the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And that is the great wealth of ISKCON. And I'm so happy to be a member of ISKCON. I feel I'm very unworthy because, I haven't really given that much back to Prabhupada's ISKCON, but it's a work in progress. But I mean, I gained the friendship of so many amazing souls, and I can go through a list, wow, so many great souls that have inspired me and have given me their friendship and support and this and that. I'm thinking of Niranjan Swami. I used to be very good friends with Sridhar Swami, the Jolly Swami, passed away 15 years ago. But anyway, so many living saints, and even after their bodies disintegrate, like Sridhar Swami, their legacy lives on. Their life of service to the Sankirtan movement lives on. We want to take inspiration from those great devotees. We want to follow their example. And there are many, many still with us. Abhitak Maharaj and Lokanath Maharaj, Radhanath Maharaj, so many. And these are my heroes, and they should be known to the rest of the world. Along with Prabhupada, all of his saintly followers, there is many elevated Matajis, Jamuna Mataji, Vishaka Mataji, Narayani, so many. Prabhupada created hundreds, if not thousands, of saints amongst his direct disciples and his grand disciples, because it's not a material short-term thing. There's a divine force coming through Prabhupada and into the rest of his followers, and he will go on forever for the next 10,000 years of Lord Chaitanya's golden age. So ISKCON is a pretty powerful force in the present Kali Yuga, because it actually is Lord Chaitanya's own pastimes of saving us from our own ignorance and follies, and it will show its full potency as time goes on. It's already worldwide, 900 temples. There was a census, like 10 million committed devotees. That's a pretty solid, achievement, and it can only increase, And I'm predicting in 100 years, our Hare Krishna movement will be the majority religion and the major force guiding the political and economic course of mankind. We have to go towards simple living, high thinking, simple living, or else we're gonna. The planet is already hurting really bad by all this Kali Yuga overexploitation and consumer society, which is a form of madness that people are prompted through publicity and you name it to keep wanting more and more and more and more. You won't be happy until you get a bigger house, a better car, more stuff off Amazon and this, that. Come on, where will it stop? No, slow down. Come back to reality. Reality is that you're actually a beautiful soul. You don't need so much stuff. All you need is know who you belong to. You belong to God, Krishna. And he loves you so much and he has so many gifts for you. He can give you all the greatest happiness, the greatest awareness, the greatest knowledge, and the greatest opportunity of sharing love with everyone. Because everyone is part of God's family. So we should know and educate people about that, and that's the purpose of this kind. Give them the details about God, not just some nebulous, maybe he's there, maybe he's not there, we don't know, we're not so sure. No, we have exactly full information, and not just the information, the experience of God. You chant God's names, Hare Krishna mantra, you actually experience God's love and peace and fullness. Just like Krishna Surya Sama, Krishna is like the sun. If you go outside, will you not feel the warmth and the light of the sun? It's automatic. If you're in the sunshine and the sunlight, you'll feel warm, then you can see everything else around you. It's automatic. So if you connect with Krishna with the little minimum of sincerity, you will experience the satisfaction, the pleasure, and the love that Krishna is eager to give you. The more our hearts become purified, the more it becomes a fit recipient for Krishna's mercy or Krishna's love and Krishna's uh, you know beauty and his chit or his potency of knowledge of awareness. Everything is there. In the Hare Krishna mantra, but your heart has to be more purified through surrender and some minimum austerity, following those four rules, and being dedicated in some way or other to the mission of ISKCON. All these will be rewarded. All these will be rewarded if you, just make an extra effort and open your heart and be more aware of how Krishna wants to give us. And that is available by hearing from Prabhupada and the pure devotees. And all of Prabhupada's dedicated followers, they have the same message, all in their own personal way. And we need that nourishment. We need that awareness to keep us, on track and inspired every day of our lives. And therefore, our life becomes very positive, happy people. That's what the world needs. We don't need a bunch of anxiety, stressed out, over consumers, have no clue as to what they're doing in life. No, let's get back to reality, and let's connect with Krishna deeper and deeper, and then become happy and make others happy. That was Prabhupada's mission. So I don't know if it's time for any
Yes,
questions.
yes. Now I have a question. So first of all, I say thank you so much for your wonderful Nectaria class. The experience with Srila Prabhupada. It is very wonderful.
I could have told a couple of Prabhupada stories, but anyway, Prabhupada's miraculous life is the greatest story ever told. So, oh yes, please, along with Prabhupada's classes and kirtans, you read everything you can about Prabhupada. There's a dozen biographies that have been written over the last 25 years about Prabhupada. And there was this amazing documentary or film biography of Prabhupada, Hare Krishna, the movement or the mantra of the movement, and the Swami who started it, the latest offering by Yadubara and his wonderful team. So that's an amazing achievement that really gives an intimate glimpse into Prabhupada's greatness. And all of Prabhupada's biographies and the memory series and that visual biography following Srila Prabhupada by Yadubara and his team. It's all very potent kata. Everyone should check, go.
Yes. So now question and answer.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to know more, like when you first meet with Srila Prabhupada, and first initiation, how it's happened? Because I heard something is very sweet
Yeah, well, there's
story
a
of the first
little interesting
initiation.
story there. So I had joined in late August 1971. There was a wonderful devotee who's the president there, Mahatma. He's somewhat well known. He gives amazing classes and seminars. So Mahatma was a young president. I was close to 24 years old, and he was only 20 and a half years old. He was much younger than me, but he was so much more wise and spiritually elevated, you know. So, and I was very happy to be under his guidance. There was other wonderful devotees, Parameshwari, Balakrishna, Kutichak, others. And then, so that was like late August 71. And by December, we had to relocate because there was problems in the little building. We were in a very odd location. We were about a kilometer from the heart of downtown Vancouver, but in a small industrial neighborhood, Raymer Street. And the building we occupied, we were on the second floor of a little warehouse building. The ground floor was electrical parts. So, I mean, what was the Hare Krishna people doing living in a warehouse? You know, wow. But it was suitable to us, and it was there for about 3 years until we finally, or 2 years, something. We finally had to relocate. But we went about 3 or 4 months without a, a the following location. We didn't find a suitable place. It took us 3 or 4 months. We spent almost 1 month in Victoria, BC, with Baudak, who, upon coming back to Vancouver, became our new president in April 72. And we found a nice place in the best neighborhood in Vancouver called Kitsilano. Anyway, so that happened. And a month or two later, we were all told, let's go down and see Prabhupada in Portland, Oregon. So that's in the middle of June 1972. We all went down, the 25 of us from Vancouver, 25 from Seattle, like that. And we were all in Prabhupada's association for about 5 days. And then on Friday, we were going to have the initiation of a dozen devotees on Saturday evening. But on Friday afternoon, we went out on Harinam. There was a big annual parade in downtown Portland. And somehow, because the police were agitated by our disturbing the parade, they took 4 of us, and threw us into a police car, down to a police station, and finally into the local penitentiary 20 miles outside of Portland. It was a very bizarre circumstance. So I missed my initiation the following day on Saturday, and Prabhupada learned of 4 of his devotees being held in jail, and he sent his personal servant, Krishna Maharaj, to the courthouse Monday morning, where we went in front of the judge. Now, what happens actually, Prabhupada was so concerned for us, by his mystic potency, he directed the judge, from within his heart, he directed the judge to totally be concerned about us. And actually, I remember how the judge, when he saw us come into the courtroom, he stood up and said, "Oh yeah, okay," as if he recognized us. And then he had 2 or 3 other little cases to take care of. He sort of brushed them aside. Within 2 or 3 minutes, then he was able to deal with us. And then he said, well, what happened? You were held in jail? And, oh, yes, sir, we were. And the police guy said, no, they were disturbing the peace during the parade. And the judge said, what? Are we in Russia that we have to take religious people and throw them in jail? We're in America where there's freedom of religion. It was your bad judgment. You did a mistake, you police guy. You imprisoned the wrong people. If you ever do that again, I'm sending you to jail. So the judge was 150% on our side. And then he said, we're so sorry. It was a big mistake. It won't happen again. Please continue your work. He was really the most pious judge you can ever imagine. And it took me a while, a couple of weeks before I realized, how come the judge was so much on our side? That must have been Prabhupada, because as soon as the judge says, please, they're released, we're sorry. And then the Pusta Krishna was at the back of the courtroom, and he came up to me and said, oh, Prabhupada sent me before he left back to Los Angeles. He was very concerned, and he wanted me to make sure you were able to get released, from the jail thing. And then even Krishna Krishna says, wow, the judge was really on our side. So that was like an amazing experience, you know. And I had many other experiences about Prabhupada being with us at all times. Another experience was that just when we were without a temple and we had to go to Victoria during the Christmas marathon, and we were on the street chanting, and it was like Christmas Eve, and then I knew my family in Ottawa were very disturbed. Oh, he's abandoned us. He thinks he can have his life without us. So why is he leaving us? We love him, but he doesn't want to love us. That all those thoughts were in my mind, and I used to love in Harinam doing back guys. With that day, it was like, oh my God, what's happening? My family in Ottawa, they're very disturbed. So I was not being very present. I was not focusing on my service. And I remember just shaking my head, and in my mind, I said, "Oh, Prabhupada, please help me. Please send me anyone I can do it back to Godhead." That very second, as soon as I had that thought, some guy was walking by, and he stopped, 20 feet from us. He turned around and he practically ran over to me. He says, "Hey, what's this all about? What's that?" And then I immediately had instant reciprocation from Prabhupada, that if you call out to Prabhupada and you really do it with your whole intense heart's desire, Prabhupada's always there with you. You can have Prabhupada in your life every day of your life if you have that intense desire to take shelter of him and help him in the mission of the Sangha movement. So that's available to everyone in ISKCON and the whole world for that matter. There are millions of devotees out there still searching, and they will find what they're searching for in ISKCON.
Okay. Second question is, what type of system now we are doing in this COVID situation to contact and connect with the devotee?
Well, what you're doing right now, that's a great thing, the internet, which is full of all sorts of nonsense, but now it's being Christianized more and more, and by Zoom or these live stream events, we can share Krishna Katha and keep ourselves really enlivened and encouraged. Just like recently, our devotees had been going out for 18 months every day on Harinam, without missing one day, 7 days a week, rain or shine, everything. It was amazing. But then, because even during the winter, we're allowed to go inside the metro, the subway system here in Montreal, certain specific spots, and we can do that. Okay, so that was going on up until recently, about 2 months ago. There was a complaint, I don't know, and because there was too many of us, 15 bunched together during the Harinam, and somebody that we weren't following the social distancing, blah, blah, blah. So the police showed up. They only showed up because there was a complaint from this nonsense person. And so the police said, no more, we can't do this. And that happened in Verdun, about 20 kilometers from the temple. We have 5 spots we go to. We change spots every day, for about 2.5 hours of Harinam. So anyway, because that spot was no longer available, and then we thought, well, it's true, we're always bunched together, 10 or more devotees. Okay, let's try something else. So within a few days, we decided to have more live stream events, and mostly go out to some special places, distribute to Halva Prasadam, which we started doing a month and a half ago. It's been a huge success. We distribute 150 plates a day, the public, and we were even on the news spontaneously. Somehow, some news crew saw us there distributing Prasadam. They came over and filmed us, and it was like, wow, thank you. And so it was very positive. And so the internet is a really wonderful way to keep our connections happening almost every day. We have every morning class. We send it on our Facebook live stream, and we have other events, kirtans, and other. We're going to have Gaur Purnima live stream, and we have hundreds of members, potentially who will be tuning in to the live stream. So meanwhile, while the COVID is still fairly, being, the governments are trying desperately to control it, make it go down, but we can still connect through the internet. And we Prashant distribution is always very popular all across Canada. They started in Toronto a year ago, and then Vancouver, and now we're doing it to the homeless people. Some other have another target. They go for the healthcare workers or like that. No, whatever. And about 100 temples all across the world are doing this prasadam distribution to help during the COVID times. That's great. That's at the heart of our movement also.
Mm. Next question: what is the supreme process for achieving loving service unto Lord Krishna?
Exactly the process that Prabhupada gave us. But we just have to intensify our absorption in the process. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yeyata mam prapadyanti tam satavi bhajamyaham. As we surrender unto him, he's eager to reciprocate. And how does Krishna reciprocate? He says so in the Bhagavatam, Vasudev Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayosada Ganashtaya Mahaitukam. Sometimes I forget part of that. Anyway, Krishna reciprocates devotion and surrender by detachment and knowledge. That is, detachment, indifference to other things. Nothing is that important. You know, we can, fulfill our duties to our family and, like that. But we don't get too much absorbed that we don't have any more time for Krishna. No, make maximum time for Krishna. No, by it's sorting through our time management. Okay, I'll do that later. I don't really have to get involved with this or that, and let me spend more time. Prabhupada as a grihasta, he would spend over an hour in the morning chanting rounds, and in the evening 2 hours or more worshiping his deities and chanting more. As a busy grihasta, and Prabhupada was building a huge business, but still he kept that as a very high priority. So we have to manage our time so we can invest the most in our spiritual growth, in our spiritual duties. That's a good thing. Of course, I have the good fortune of serving here at the Montreal Temple. I'm here 8-9 hours a day. There's about 15 other devotees around here. If you live in the ashrams, men and women, or others come from outside and do the daily service here, and it's very nice to see that because they're available and that's the best thing in their life, and they want to invest as much as they can in their spiritual activities. So, but you can make your home a temple and organize your routine to have, if you don't have that much time in the morning, well, at least 1 or 2 hours in the evening, and you can also plug in to the internet sangha. Niranjan Swami is giving a class every day. Other elevated devotees are also available, and Shivaram Swami does different things. Many others, Giriraj Swami, others. So then you just go around ISKCON. I have a daily subscription to ISKCON Desire Tree. They send out a message every day with a dozen links. You can link into this class, that class, this, and there's a text, like you can read things, or you can also open the link to visual classes and kirtans and this and that. So ISKCON Desire Tree is a great source. There's individual devotees have their own. Mahatma Das has a great website. Shankarshan, he gives classes on the internet. Niranjan Swami, my old friend. Many. The resources are amazing, and you can even search through Google. Google is great, if you want to find out anything about Prabhupada and Krishna, you can Google it, and they'll give you like 20 links. It's great, So.
Next question is how to make more people join in Srila Prabhupada Hare Krishna movement.
Yeah, no, it's always been a challenge. There's two things. Prabhupada gave us a perfect formula. Harinam, the knowledge books, the Sangha, the devotees, devotional programs, and prasadam distribution like that. So you have to see what your situation allows you to do. We're not having to reinvent, what Krishna consciousness is about. There's form and substance. Substance is what counts. The actual teachings and the actual practice of bhakti. That is the substance. The form, Prabhupada himself made adjustments. He packaged it. He made it available so that others who were very low-born and unspiritual could relate to it. He gave them prasadam. He gave them really logical, substantial classes, things that they could think about, you know. And so the form can be adjusted a little bit, but without ever changing the substance. And that's the challenge, because you know sometimes if you change the form to such a degree, just like you know kirtans, you can have other melodies and other things, but if you get into rock kirtans, I don't think that the nectar, the potency of the holy name, it gets covered over. You know, we even had a group of musicians here. They had a jazz album. It's all right, but it's for those people who are so hung up on music. They absolutely need the best music before they even get interested in finding out what's behind the music or what's the message of the music, you know. But there were very, very good. There's hundreds of great musicians all around ISKCON. They're doing wonderful kirtans, but they also do like Mangalananda. He's done amazing 3 or 4 albums, and their message is so beautiful and clear and personal and genuine. And others have done. Prahlad, Sri Prahlad from Australia there, he's done some really nice recordings. And a lot of other ISKCON people have done. So you can adapt different music and, you know, make it more attractive to people, but you should still try and give it, you know, as it is, as pure as possible. I actually quite enjoyed Janavi Mataji from England. Her father, Kripamoya, a very, very good preacher, you know, very good lecturer. But Janavi has a potency, you know, so you got some Shakti. It's nice. Of course, an amazing voice. And most people, she has like 1 million people on the internet checking out her kirtans, because her voice is very vibrant and soulful. Again, it's her sincerity that really comes and connects with people. And the beautiful melodies are nice, but without sincerity, you can't really have any effect on people. Now, there was a guy out there since the last 50 years, Krishna Das. He's been singing bhajans and Hare Krishna mantra, but he sings anything and everything because his guru is a Mayavadi, you know, from northern India. And so this Krishna Das, he has publicly had to say, look, I'm not really with the Hare Krishna people. They're all right, but I'm really, you know, from another traditions. Thank you anyway. But he's had to publicly declare that he's not really with our devotees because he was honest enough to say so, because you know he has a great musical ability and he's got a couple of million followers all across the world and blah blah blah. And he's chanting Hare Krishna at sometimes and many other things, but he doesn't have the potency of the Parampara. And that's not his intention. His intention is not to awaken love of Krishna. It's to make people feel good, to give them a little taste of bhav. But bhav cannot be there without genuine connection to Krishna. You can't imitate that bhav. Oh, there's a whole tradition of Sahajiya, imitation devotees. They put on a big show of bhav, of intense spiritual emotions, thinking that will provoke the higher connection to Krishna. No, Krishna will not reciprocate with that cheap imitation. See? So anyway, sincerity is still our main wealth, and that's what keeps our connection alive and effective, that we can share it with others like that.
Next question is how to maintain the grihasthashram and spirituality.
That's a work in progress, a dilemma since the beginning of Prabhupada's mission here. I was also grihastha. I'm sort of Vanaprastha now for the last 20 years. So Vanaprastha is supposed to wear saffron, which I don't relate to. No, well, the grihastha ashram is actually a great blessing if you can find the right compatible life companion. Then it becomes a great spiritual partnership for each other's spiritual progress. It doesn't slow you down. It can accelerate you. I have the example of wonderful devotee couples. Yadubar and his good wife, Vishaka, my friends from the Western Canada, Vancouver, Partha and Uttama. So many other hundreds and hundreds of very successful Grihastha couples who have done an ocean of service in Prabhupada's movement. You know, powerful preaching, wonderful, exemplary, inspiring service. Wow. So that's the examples to follow. But according to, but the grass ashram is, it can be such a victory, can be such a great achievement, but it requires spiritual compatibility and material compatibility. Material compatibility is your varna, you know, that Brahmins are best with other Brahmins, Vaishyas are best with sort of Vaishya types, Kshatras, you know, it's best to have similar natures. Guna karma, you know, should be similar. And the spiritual compatibility is how much dedication, how much invested you are in your devotion. You know, a very elevated husband, he can bring his wife up with him. I've seen it in other couples. It's the wife who's more advanced, and she has her enthusiasm and determination to share, and the husband picks up on it and gets the benefit. You know, and sometimes it's the children that have. It happened to me. I had two sons. I loved them both. But then my younger son, Damodar Gopal, he became a brahmachari at the age of 17. I was fringed. I was on the fringe, which means I was like not active within ISKCON. But when he decided to join ISKCON, of course, I encouraged him. Yes, try it out, try it out. Hopefully, you'll be happy there. And he prospered, and he brought me back to ISKCON. that happened like 20 something years ago, 22 years ago. So my son was the best result of my Grihastha ashram, because I was married for 15 years, a very nice, sincere devotee, Leela Sukha. And so she helped me, and I helped her in so many ways. So our spiritual partnership was very successful. But materially, we were not 100% compatible. That's why it finally broke up. But we still did the best we could, and we went ahead spiritually, and we helped each other a lot. It was good. And we were blessed by two wonderful sons. Even my older son is not a devotee, but he's a very kind, genuine person, dedicated to helping others in his own way. So
time is almost more than hour. So thank you for your wonderful class and explanation. And I just announced the next week we are coming, our special guest speaker, His Holiness Kobi Chandra Swami.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he is now based in Indonesia.
Oh.
And
I don't think I know him.
Okay.
So many great souls, in our group.
Yeah, he actually met with Prabhupada's disciple in 1967.
Wow.
And later on, he liked it. And 1971, he directly gave his life for Srila Prabhupada mission.
What's his name again?
Kobi Chandra Swami. His Holiness Kobi Chandra. His base is now Indonesia.
Okay. That's nice.
New York, 1967. He just
yeah. Another great soul.
After next week, also we have Malati, his Her Grace Malati Devi Dasi.
Malati. We're friends. He's doing wonderful service in New Vrindavan and other places.
Yeah.
An exemplary daughter of Prabhupada. Very nice.
Yeah. So I request you, everybody, please join our next program.
Yes, I will keep that connection alive, and I'll post it on our ISKCON Montreal.
Oh, thank you so much. So thank you, everyone, again, and especially thank to His Grace Gokulananda Prabhu for his time. And it is very useful for next generation. They know how Srila Prabhupada and his devotee, they are the nectarian.
I want to thank you for doing this service on a regular basis. Very, very beneficial. Just like I mentioned, the internet is such a wonderful tool to sharing inspiration, sharing kata. You're doing a wonderful service with this. Thank you very, very much also.
So I need your bless so we can continue our service.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Hare Krishna to everyone.
Everyone. So Bancha Kalpataru
Panchakalpatarusha,
Kripa Sindhu
Sanskrit,
Evacha Patitanai Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo. See you
Thank you.
next. Srila
All glory
Prabhupada.
to the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.